Hello everybody, my name is Mark, and here is my presentation or review on the graphic novel Wytches Volume 1. Before we get started, I just want to say sorry for being a little late on this one. I had some trouble finding this book. I actually had to download it from Amazon, and that's why I don't have any artwork to show. However, I may be able to figure something out if I can add it in afterwards. But without further ado, here we go. The title, of course, is Wytches Volume 1. Wytches is spelled with a Y because that's how the cool kids spell it. The team behind the book includes Scott Snyder, who worked on the story, Jock, who did the art, Matt Hollingsworth, who did the colors, Clem Robbins, who did the lettering, and last but not least, the editor, David Brothers. That confused me a little bit because I wasn't sure if it was David Brothers or the David Brothers. But the publisher of this fine work is Image Comics, and the length of the novel is 144 pages. Though it does have chapters, the 3-act structure is still intact, and it roughly ends around page 56 for Act 1. Act 2 picks up a few pages later and lasts around to page 100, and Act 3 lasts from 100 on to, of course, the conclusion of the story. Through the first 20-30 pages or so, I believe this story was about Sailor Rooks, but after reading on further, this is actually a story of her father, Charlie Rooks. Charlie's goal is to save her daughter from the witches as she is pledged. To be pledged, you gotta be sprayed with like a green liquid, and that draws the witches to you. The pledger, or a pledgee, if you will, gets granted a wish for pledging someone. In fact, the cop in the story actually pledges someone, and he gets granted, like, I want to say maybe like immortality or something like that, because he gets shot in the head by Charlie and he gets back up like nothing happened a few pages later. But overall, the conflict of Sailor getting captured and Charlie going after her supports his goal in the story. The story arc does suggest a strong beginning, middle, and end. However, there seems to be some suggestions that the overall story isn't finished, hence the, volume 1. But for this story, the main conflicts are resolved during the story, and it has a definitive ending. Charlie Rooks has a solid character arc. During the course of the story, we learn that he's devastated that he couldn't protect his daughter from the traumatic events in the beginning of the story. Sailor watched as her bully, Annie, got brutally murdered by the witches. Not to reveal too much, but Annie was actually pledged by someone else. And nobody in the town knew about the whole pledging and anything like that, but they believed that Sailor was the one that murdered Annie. So their father-daughter relationship was tested, and it ends with Charlie sacrificing himself to save his daughter so she can escape and, live on. The story has effective transitions, in my opinion. In fact, I'm not the biggest, comic book or graphic novel fan. This is actually my first graphic novel that I've read. So I'm probably not the best judge. I don't have much to compare it to, but I do believe the transitions were done very well. I didn't see many moment-to-moment transitions, so that's probably the only thing I can really say about that. I think the directional flow works great in the story. I was definitely interested with a combination of the art and the text and the layout. I actually got caught up sometimes. I had a hard time staying focused because I get sidetracked watching the other panels and the other pages. And so I had some time completing the story as far as that aspect goes. And I would recommend this book to classmates. I think it tells a really good story. The lore of the witches are explained, which a lot of horror books, tales, they don't do the origins of the monster very well. I think this book did a really solid job on that. And the characters have really solid motivations, and they're easy to understand. And I think that's what makes this such a good story. I'd recommend this to friends that read for the same reason. Simply put, the story is effective. And as the presentation comes to an end, here's my fun fact. Did you know that Walmart has a lower acceptance rate than Harvard? That's weird. But yeah, so this is it. Hope you have a good morning, a great afternoon, and a wonderful evening. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and hopefully we all pass this class. That concludes my presentation of Wytches Volume 1, and thanks for watching.